think money is numbers. You think it's math, logic, charts, formulas. But here's the truth you've avoided for years. Money is psychological warfare. Not against the world, but against yourself. Money reveals the parts of you that you hide from everyone else. Your impulses, your fears, your envy, your desperation for status, your hunger for control, your inability to delay gratification, your habit of sabotaging your future because your present feels uncomfortable. People don't fail with money because they're stupid. They fail because they're emotional. They chase what glitters, then panic when it burns. They compare their chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. They confuse appearance with wealth. They spend to feel significant, then call it self-care. They let anxiety drive decisions, and then wonder why they keep crashing into the same wall. Real wealth is rarely visible. It hides in silence. It grows in the dark. It's built by people who don't need to be seen, only paid. The wealthy don't operate differently because they're lucky. They operate differently because they've mastered themselves. They understand that money has one enemy, emotion, and one ally, discipline. They know the power of patience, not the Instagram version, the kind where you invest for years without applause, the kind where you resist the urge to look rich because you're too busy becoming rich, the kind where you stay consistent long after your excitement dies. They understand that the most important financial skill is not intelligence, but behavior, not predicting markets, but controlling impulses, not chasing the highest returns, but avoiding the catastrophic mistakes that wipe you out. They know that getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two different battles. Getting wealthy requires courage. Staying wealthy requires restraint. The same fire that builds you can burn you if you never learn to control it. The truth is simple. Money rewards those who think long-term. Money punishes those who seek instant pleasure. You want to know why your financial life feels chaotic? Because your emotions run your wallet. Because you react instead of plan. Because you care more about approval than security. Because you fear being boring more than being broke. If you want to rise, you must become the kind of person money trusts. Money trusts the patient. Money trusts the prepared. Money trusts the disciplined. Money trusts the quiet builder who keeps stacking when others are distracted. Money trusts the warrior who chooses consistency over chaos. You don't need brilliance. You need control. Control of your mind. Control of your habits. Control of your desires. Control of that inner voice that whispers, just this once. It won't matter. Because it always matters. Small decisions compound. Small mistakes compound. Everything compounds, including your excuses. And understand this. Wealth is not what you buy. It's what you keep. It's not your car, your clothes, your vacations. It's the gap between your ego and your income. It's the power to walk away. It's the sleep you earn because you're not drowning in debt. It's the freedom to choose your life instead of renting it. You want financial power? Then stop worshiping speed and start worshiping longevity. Stop chasing the loud path and start building the invisible one. Stop trying to impress people who don't pay your bills. Your future self is waiting. Not for your genius. Not for your luck. For your discipline. For your patience. For your willingness to do the quiet, unglamorous work that compounds into something unstoppable. This world does not reward the loudest. It rewards the most consistent. The ones who keep their vision sharp, their emotions in check, and their ego on a leash. If you want to win the war of money, you win the war within. Now ask yourself, are you ready for that battle? Or will you keep losing to the person in the mirror? Step 1. Master emotional control. Before touching your money, you cannot build wealth until you confront the real enemy. Your own emotions. Not the market, not the economy, not your job, not your income. You. Every financial disaster in your life didn't begin with a number. It began with a feeling. The feeling of impatience. The feeling of envy. The feeling of fear. The feeling of, I deserve this right now. The feeling of everyone else has it, so I should too. Money doesn't betray you. Your impulses do. To master your financial life, you must become dangerous in a way most people never understand. You must be capable of pausing before you act. Not 5 minutes, not an hour. Sometimes a single breath is enough to stop you from burning months of progress just to feel good for 3 minutes. Think about every time money slipped through your fingers. Was the purchase rational? Or was it emotional anesthesia? A momentary distraction from boredom, insecurity, frustration, loneliness, or pressure? People don't spend because they need. They spend because they can't sit with themselves. When you buy out of emotion, you are not in control. You're being controlled. You're not choosing. You're coping. To break that pattern, you must train yourself like a warrior training his reflexes. Your first instinct is to act. Your new instinct must be to observe. Observe the emotion rising. Observe the tension. Observe the urge to soothe yourself. And then do nothing. Let the moment pass without obeying it. This is not easy. That's why almost nobody does it. Most people would rather stay broke than confront their inner chaos. But emotional control is the foundation of all wealth. Until you build it, every financial strategy is a castle built on sand. You'll save 1 month, then undo it the next. You'll invest during calm times and panic during volatility. You'll plan with logic and sabotage it with emotion. This is why the wealthy are not the smartest. They're the most stable. They do not let mood swings become financial decisions. They do not let panic dictate direction. They do not let envy shape their purchases. They feel emotion like everyone else. They simply refuse to bow to it. Your task is to become the kind of person who can experience discomfort without immediately trying to escape it. You must learn to sit with boredom without buying something. Sit with envy without trying to catch up. Sit with fear without selling everything. Sit with desire without feeding it impulsively. The world will try to convince you that emotional spending is normal, even harmless. Treat yourself. You only live once. You deserve it. But these phrases are traps designed to keep you financially weak and emotionally exploitable. Because here's the brutal truth. You don't rise until your emotions stop dragging you down. Want to know who controls your financial future right now? It's not you. It's your fear of missing out. It's your impatience. It's your insecurity about how others see you. It's your inability to delay gratification. It's the emotional child inside you who wants everything instantly. Until you conquer that version of yourself, you will recreate the same patterns endlessly. Earn, spend, regret, repeat. So here is your new discipline. Before every financial decision, pause. Before every purchase, breathe. Before every emotional reaction, sit in silence for 30 seconds. Before you let a feeling turn into an expense, let it burn out inside your mind instead of burning a hole in your wallet. The moment you can feel emotion without acting on it, your entire financial life transforms. Your spending becomes intentional. Your investments become rational. Your stress decreases because your control increases. Your future stops depending on your mood. you become a fortress. And understand this. This step is not optional. If you do not master your emotions, they will master your money. And if they master your money, they will master your life. Control yourself, or lose everything that could have been yours. That's the law. Step 2. Build a system that protects you from yourself. You'll never rise financially if you rely on willpower alone. Willpower is a spark. Bright, impressive, temporary systems are the fire pit. Controlled, contained, endless when maintained. Here's the truth most people never confront. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer opportunities to sabotage yourself. Motivation fades, discipline slips, focus collapses. But a system stands when you don't. A system saves you from the version of yourself who makes emotional decisions at 11 p.m. A system shields you on the days when your mind is tired, your patience is thin, and temptation is loud. A system becomes the architecture of your financial life, rigid enough to guide you, smart enough to prevent damage, and automatic enough to bypass your worst tendencies. Most people fail with money because they rely on feelings instead of frameworks. They say things like, "I'll save if I can. I'll invest when it feels right. I'll cut back after this month." These are lies disguised as intentions. If something depends on your mood, you've already lost. Systems remove emotion from the equation. Systems turn decisions into defaults. Systems eliminate choice. And that's exactly what you need. Why? Because choices wear you down. Because options create hesitation. Because temptation thrives in freedom. And because every human has a breaking point. To protect your financial future, you must design your environment so your success does not depend on your strength. It depends on your structure. Start with automation, the cornerstone of financial stability. Automate your savings so the money moves before you see it. Automate your investments so randomness cannot derail your consistency. Automate your bill payments so you never pay the price for forgetfulness. Automate what your emotions cannot be trusted to manage. Next, create personal financial rules, not suggestions, not encouragements, rules. Rules that cannot be negotiated when you're tired or frustrated or insecure. Rules like, I invest X% of every dollar I earn. I do not finance lifestyle items. I do not touch my emergency fund for anything except actual emergencies. I reassess my budget monthly. These rules act as walls. When your emotions try to storm the castle, the walls hold. Then build friction around your bad habits. Make impulse spending inconvenient. Make mindless purchases slower. Delete your saved cards online. Create a 48-hour waiting period before large purchases. Turn convenience into resistance, because when something is harder, you do it less. And while you're at it, build ease around your good habits. Make investing simple. Make saving automatic. Make tracking your money effortless. Make the path toward your goals smoother than the path away from them. Your entire financial life will transform when your environment pushes you forward instead of pulling you backward. Because here's the dark truth. You are not strong enough to win every emotional battle. Nobody is. But you don't need to be strong if the battlefield itself is rigged in your favor. This is what most people never understand. Willpower is a terrible foundation. It's inconsistent, unpredictable, and easily hijacked by stress, temptation, and fatigue. But systems? Systems are loyal. Systems don't panic. Systems don't envy. Systems don't overspend. Systems don't chase hype. Systems don't self-destruct. A system continues even when you collapse. A system protects you even when you're overwhelmed. A system keeps you moving even when your motivation is dead. And this is what separates those who break free from those who stay trapped. The disciplined don't trust themselves. They trust what they build. Every step of your financial life should be engineered to support your long-term vision, not your short-term emotions. If your success depends on how you feel, you have built a fragile future. Build something stronger, something durable, something unshakable. A system is not just a tool, it is armor. And without it, your own impulses will eventually devour your progress. Protect yourself from yourself. Build the structure now, or watch your undisciplined moments destroy what disciplined moments created. Your system is the gatekeeper. Your system is the shield. Your system is your survival. Step 3. Prioritize consistency over excitement. Most people fail with money, not because they're incapable, but because they're addicted to the wrong thing. They're addicted to excitement, not progress. They want wealth to feel like fireworks, loud, fast, dramatic, noticeable. But wealth is a glacier, silent, slow, relentless, unstoppable only because it never stops moving. Listen carefully. Success is not built in the moments that thrill you. Success is built in the moments that bore you. This is where the masses collapse. They want intensity, not consistency. They want big leaps, not small steps. They want overnight change, not daily discipline. And because excitement is unstable, their financial life becomes unstable with it. A cycle of surges followed by collapse, progress followed by self-sabotage, ambition followed by apathy. If you want real wealth, you must kill your dependence on excitement. You must build a relationship with boredom. You must become the kind of person who repeats the right behaviors long after the thrill has evaporated. This is the psychological shift almost nobody makes. Consistency is more valuable than brilliance, luck, or timing. Someone with average income and unwavering consistency will surpass someone with high income and emotional inconsistency every single time. Quiet discipline, repeated endlessly, beats chaotic brilliance. The world is filled with people who take massive action for a week, crash for a month, then convince themselves they tried everything. No, they tried intensity. They never tried consistency. Consistency is not glamorous. You invest the same amount every month even when you're bored. You track your spending even when it feels tedious. You stay focused even when excitement dies. You stick to the plan even when your emotions beg you to deviate. You don't chase what's shiny. You chase what's steady. You don't chase what's thrilling. You chase what's proven. You don't chase the high. You chase the result. The wealthy don't get rich from a single moment. They get rich from thousands of tiny, invisible decisions repeated with discipline. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait to feel inspired. They don't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect day. They move every single day. And you must do the same. The reason consistency feels hard is because it forces you to confront the truth. Your future is built by your habits, not your hopes. And habits do not care about your excitement. They care about your repetition. Consistency requires humility. It requires accepting that you are not above the basics. It requires understanding that progress often looks like nothing is happening, until everything happens at once. Most people quit before the compounding shows itself. They plant seeds, water them for a little while, and when nothing grows fast enough to impress their ego, they abandon the field entirely. Meanwhile, the patient warrior keeps watering, keeps tending, keeps showing up, and eventually harvests a forest while everyone else complains about their luck. Consistency is a weapon, but like any weapon, it must be forged through pressure. The pressure of doing the work when it's not fun. The pressure of resisting distractions. The pressure of sticking to the plan, even when emotions scream. The pressure of trusting the process when the results are still invisible. You must become loyal to the routine, not the rush. You must become addicted to execution, not emotion. You must value repetition more than recognition. Understand this. Anyone can be great for a day. Only a few can be great daily. And those few own the world, while everyone else worships temporary motivation. You want wealth? Then stop waiting for excitement. Stop depending on inspiration. Stop expecting progress to feel good. Start showing up. Start repeating. Start stacking tiny wins. Start building slow power. Because in the end, wealth is not a reward. It is a reflection. A reflection of how consistently you honor your future over your impulses. A reflection of how often you choose discipline over distraction. A reflection of whether you can keep going long after passion dies. Consistency makes you unstoppable, because consistency makes you inevitable. If you move every day, the world cannot outrun you. If you improve every day, the world cannot catch you. And if you stay consistent long enough, your success becomes a matter of time, not luck. Step 4. Expand the gap between ego and income. If you want financial power, you must confront the most dangerous enemy of wealth. Not poverty, not limited opportunities, not external circumstances. Your ego. Your ego is the parasite that eats your financial future from the inside. It whispers, "You deserve more. Right now." It wants to look wealthy before you are wealthy. It wants admiration, not security. It wants optics, not ownership. It wants to feel big while your bank account stays small. And here is the brutal truth few people ever face. Most people are not broke because of income. They are broke because of ego. They cannot stand the idea of appearing less than. They cannot stomach the thought of someone thinking they're struggling. They buy symbols because they're starving for validation. And they destroy their financial freedom because they're addicted to image. But real wealth lives in the gap. The space between what you earn and what you allow yourself to spend. The bigger the gap, the faster you rise. The smaller the gap, the closer you are to drowning. This is why some people earning 6 figures stay poor, and why some people earning modest wages become wealthy. It is not the money coming in. It is the discipline keeping money from running out. Your mission now is simple but unforgiving. Shrink your ego. Expand your margin. Increase the distance between your lifestyle and your income. That distance, that space, becomes the fuel for everything meaningful. Your investments, your opportunities, your freedom, your exit from the life you're trying to escape. But let's be honest. Your ego will not die quietly. It will fight. It will tell you you're missing out. It will remind you what others have. It will pressure you to match lifestyles you haven't earned. Your ego is loud because it's insecure. But insecurity is not a financial strategy. You must train yourself to detach your self-worth from your possessions. You must stop trying to prove things to people who don't matter. You must stop chasing validation and start chasing power. Because every time you shrink the gap between income and spending, you shrink your future. Every time you widen the gap, you build leverage. You build options. You build breathing room. You build strength that cannot be seen, only felt. Understand this. Looking wealthy is the fastest path to never becoming wealthy. Every dollar spent to impress others is a dollar stolen from your future. A dollar stolen from your investments. A dollar stolen from your freedom. A dollar stolen from the version of yourself who deserved better. You must become obsessed with restraint, not deprivation, not punishment. Restraint. The strategic ability to live beneath your means, while building beyond your imagination. Restraint is not weakness. Restraint is power. Restraint is self-respect in its purest form. Restraint is choosing long-term dominance over short-term dopamine. And here's the paradox. The world never teaches you. The less you need to prove, the more wealth you will accumulate. The more secure you become internally, the less you spend externally. People with nothing to prove spend the least. People desperate to prove something spend the most. You decide which one you'll be. So ask yourself, are you building wealth? Or are you building an image? Are you creating a future? Or are you feeding an ego that only grows hungrier? Are you buying assets that pay you? Or liabilities you must keep paying for? Are you playing the long game? Or chasing temporary validation? Every purchase is a vote. Every choice expands or shrinks the gap. Every month you decide whether you're building a fortress or building a facade. The facade feels good now. The fortress feels good forever. Those who win financially are those who learn to live with the discomfort of not showing off. They choose silence over attention. They choose invisibility over shallow admiration. They choose delayed gratification over instant ego numbing. This step is not about frugality. It's about priority. It's about identity. It's about choosing who you want to become over who you want others to think you are. Those who expand this gap become untouchable. Those who don't become trapped for life. Strength is not in how loudly you display your lifestyle. Strength is in how quietly you build your legacy. Step 5. Shift from get rich fast to stay rich forever. Most people never build real wealth because they chase the wrong finish line. They want the rush, the win, the jackpot, the shortcut. They want speed, not strength. They want a miracle, not mastery. But wealth is not about getting rich. It's about staying rich. And staying rich requires an entirely different identity, mindset, and strategy than the one used to get there. Anyone can get lucky once. A risky trade, a booming market, a sudden raise, a business that catches fire, a trend that takes off. Luck can lift you, but only discipline keeps you there. Staying wealthy is a psychological marathon. It requires humility, patience, and caution. It requires the ability to walk away from temptations, resist emotional impulses, and survive storms that wipe out the undisciplined. This step is the final test of financial maturity. Can you protect the wealth you build? Or will you lose it because you never learned how to respect it? Here's the truth most people never want to face. Building wealth is offensive work. Keeping wealth is defensive work. And almost everyone fails on defense. Defense means protecting your downside before chasing upside. Defense means avoiding catastrophic mistakes, the kind that take you from abundance to survival overnight. Defense means playing the long game when others gamble on shortcuts. People lose money because they're too proud, too greedy, or too emotional to accept this. The goal is not to win big. The goal is to never lose everything. This requires a new kind of self-mastery, one forged in patience, clarity, and psychological control. You must learn to avoid the traps disguised as opportunities. The too good to be true investment. The trend everyone is chasing. The pressure to level up your lifestyle. The belief that the good times will last forever. The fantasy that you can outsmart the simple math of risk. You stay rich by being skeptical, not cynical. Curious, not reckless. You question the hype. You challenge the crowd. You protect what you've built with the seriousness of someone guarding a fortress. The world will mock you for being cautious. They'll call you boring. They'll call you slow. They'll call you conservative. Let them. They don't understand that survival is the greatest wealth-building skill of all. If you stay in the game long enough, compounding does the heavy lifting. Time becomes your ally. Stability becomes your power. Consistency becomes your multiplier. Most people don't get the chance to experience compounding because they blow themselves up before it can work for them. They risk too much. They panic too quickly. They try to be clever instead of consistent. And they get wiped out by their own ego. You stay wealthy by understanding that your worst enemy is not the market. It's your own overconfidence. Overconfidence convinces you to take risks you can't afford. It whispers, "This time is different." It tells you to double down when you should be stepping back. It pushes you to seek bigger, faster, louder wins, until one bad decision destroys years of progress. To counter this, you must build rules that prioritize survival. Never risk what you cannot replace. Keep a margin of safety in everything. Diversify, so one failure doesn't ruin you. Avoid extremes in greed, in fear, in certainty. Focus on steady growth, not explosive gains. Wealth is fragile when it's new. It needs caution. It needs respect. It needs discipline. And here is the dark reality you must accept. Nobody loses everything in one moment. They lose it through a series of ignored warnings, rising pride, and undisciplined bets. You must not become that person. Staying wealthy means keeping your identity grounded. It means not letting money inflate your ego or blur your judgment. It means resisting the temptation to escalate your lifestyle just because you can. It means staying the same disciplined warrior who built the foundation in the first place. The mindset that gets you. There is not the mindset that keeps you there. Getting rich takes boldness. Staying rich takes restraint. And the ability to shift between them is what separates the conquerors from the casualties. Your job now is not speed. It is preservation. Your mission is not excitement. It is endurance. Your goal is not the next big win. It is the lifelong defense of your financial kingdom. The world is filled with people who rose fast and fell faster. But the ones who rise and stay risen, they understood the power of patience. They mastered caution. They respected risk. They played for decades, not days. And that is your path now. Not the path of the gambler, the path of the guardian, the protector, the architect of intergenerational strength. Do not chase wealth that burns. Build wealth that survives. Build wealth that compounds. Build wealth that can withstand storms, seasons, and cycles. Because in the end, the goal is not to get rich fast. The goal is to stay rich forever. So now you see the truth. The truth most people run from their entire lives. Wealth is not won in the market. It's not won in the economy. It's not won in your income. It's won in your psychology. If you master your emotions, if you build systems that protect you, if you stay consistent long after excitement dies, if you widen the gap between ego and income, if you shift from trying to get rich fast to learning how to stay rich forever, then you will rise, slowly, quietly, relentlessly, into a life most people will never experience. But if you ignore these principles, if you let your emotions rule, if you let your ego dictate your spending, if you chase shortcuts and quick wins, if you refuse to build structure and rely on motivation alone, then your future will collapse under the weight of your own impulses. Not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't consistent. Not because you didn't want success, but because you refused to respect the cost of it. Not because you were unlucky, but because you never built yourself into someone wealth could trust. Understand this. Money is loyal only to those who are disciplined enough to deserve it. It flows toward calm minds, long-term thinkers, and people who don't need validation to feel whole. It avoids the impulsive, the reckless, and the ego-driven. You stand at a crossroads right now. One path is fast, exciting, chaotic, paved with impulse, envy, and self-sabotage. Walk that road, and you'll spend your life rebuilding what you keep destroying. The other path is slow, steady, intentional, paved with patience, strategy, and emotional control. Walk that road, and your future becomes untouchable. The question is not whether you can rise. You can. The question is whether you are willing to become the type of person that rising requires. You don't need brilliance. You don't need a miracle. You don't need the perfect timing. You need discipline. You need clarity. You need consistency. You need the courage to choose long-term strength over short-term relief. The world will tempt you into emotional spending. Social media will lure you into comparison. Your ego will whisper that you deserve everything now. But remember this. Every dollar you protect is a vote for your future. Every dollar you waste is a vote for your downfall. Choose wisely. Choose intentionally. Choose the version of you who refuses to be owned by emotion, by ego, by impulse. Because the moment you master the psychology of money, you stop being another consumer in the machine, and you become the architect of your own financial destiny. Become that person. The world won't understand you, but the future will honor you.